Yo, it's your boy Logos, and today I want to react to another Just Pearly Things clip. This time, a masculine man destroys a modern woman. I wonder and curious to see who makes the most sense and what input I can provide to it. So let's get into it and see what they got to say.
One thing that annoys me, and again, I'll say that doing OnlyFans, being an actor, as you want to call it, you're free to do as you please, do what you want. The one thing that annoys me is when those same women then ask for high value men. Because to me, that makes zero sense.
Are you a high value man to be so annoyed?
What's your
No,
definition?
I'm literally asking the question. Like, no, I'm not even trying to get.
No.
I'm literally asking the question.
First of all, I'm making a point. So after the point's made, then we can go on to the other question.
What's your definition of a high value male though? Like, I don't know what that means.
A high value man is someone is strong in his masculinity, financially, what's the word? Financially endowed, and just he controls the show. Like he knows what he's doing with himself.
What's stable in the masculinity?
It's
Caught a bit of shame.
Huh?
What do you mean by stable? Like,
So a man is in his true masculine. So he's confident, he's strong, he's dependable, he's reliable. These things. Once a man ticks those boxes, he sits in his as a high value male. So he becomes high value.
It feels like a bit of a caveman mentality.
that's what I was.
Yeah,
I was
it
getting
does.
that, and I was like,
It feels like why does it feel like a caveman
To
mentality?
classify that as a high value man, like why do you need to be overly masculine to be a high value
the thing
man?
is we can say that it's caveman mentality, but these are the ideals that through hypergamy women also create. So you perpetuate these standards because the men that you go for are men that tick these boxes. So your biological impulses lead towards these men. So you can't then call it a caveman ideology when the man you're going to sleep with tomorrow is that man that's probably ticking those boxes.
do you think it's because a lot of women are exposed to that? They'll turn on the TV and all the men
you're now giving
really
excuses to why women behave. I'm saying that biologically this is what women pick. So you can't then say this, that, and the other. This is what you go for, and this is what you've been going for throughout time.
A lot of people go for what they've seen. Like, if you were just brought up seeing very hyper masculine men and as growing up, you've seen that as what women are meant to be.
Yeah, I was about to say.
You do though, like you
Harry
see like
Styles.
that's recently though. That's very recent. It's not
me growing up, I
One
did.
Direction. Harry Styles is very different to him now. Do you know what I mean? It's very different. Like now you'll see women who prefer men who are more feminine, who are in touch with their feminine side. I'm not saying you.
Where?
A lot of women.
No, but where?
You'll see
a lot of
you'll
women.
see a lot of women settling for men that are more feminine.
No, a lot of women who want that, who can maybe look after themselves a bit more or just stuff like that. They want that. They don't want more of the caveman stereotype. They want someone who's going to relate to them on an emotional level, because a lot of times masculinity isn't coordinated with being emotionally available.
Yeah.
And a lot of women now tend, especially women want an emotional connection with a man. They don't want more. A lot of women I know.
Okay, so my counter argument to that is if that's the case and men have been shifting to more feminine, than masculine type traits or personality types, if that's what women want, then how was previous generations able to happen? How was we able to have successful relationships and that will produce children, and the men in that relationship and those families, they'll provide for the family and the one will take care of the household, and that led to the civilization and the generation that we have now. It seems now that we always want to flip stuff and say like, you really don't have to be that, or people wasn't always like that, or no, this is what a man is. That's another thing I noticed. A black masculine man is trying to tell people about what makes a masculine man. But instead of them trying to listen, at least get clarification or try to understand, they trying to say that no, you don't actually know what you are or the type of man that you should be and the type of woman or the type of men that women do go for. And I don't see how they could say that, considering that this guy interacts with women, he has relationships with women, and these it's a woman, it's a gay guy, and it's other two women. Like y'all really don't understand that type of viable relationship because you're not a guy. You don't know how we are, but you're trying to tell us how we should be or what women actually want. And like he said, the results it say differently. Oftentimes, the only cases I see where women want like feminine men is oftentimes where they want to be like the man in the relationship, but often that doesn't last very long. Or times when they have the freedom to just sleep around or not even be faithful to the man, they often cheat on the man because they don't respect them. But maybe that's just me and what I've seen.
This isn't a fun study, and this actually makes women look really bad. Okay. But if a woman sees a man cry even once, she doesn't respect him the same, and she loses attraction to him.
When was this made, though? This study? Because, like,
our biology doesn't change.
Yeah.
This was recent.
There's even a Netflix documentary you can watch on it. That's very recent that depicts this.
Yeah, and this isn't fun, but women are telling men to be emotionally available, but that's not what we want to sleep with.
I don't.
No, but I do think things are changing a lot. So potentially for like the younger generation, as they come up, they might be very different to maybe how we are now.
Then we can wait to see what happens when those results come.
Yeah.
But right now, in the world we live in right now, these are the facts of the reality.
Because the things we've been exposed to is very different to what they are now. Yeah. Like we're saying Harry Styles, this and that. That may be their first man. That may be like a girl's first man they've seen on stage, and they're like, oh my God, that's what I like. Whereas like a lot of women and a lot of gay men, they've seen like the hyper masculine men who looks after everyone, does A, B, and C. We don't really see that as much anymore. Now we'll see shows where maybe the woman goes to work and the woman.
Well, they forced it on us. They forced it on us.
You kind of have to in a society.
You say that, but
why?
sitcoms have been like.
If it was, why do you have to force somebody to, I don't know, do a particular behavior? If they want to do it and it's natural to them, they will engage in it because it's for their benefit. But trying to force in a type of policy or, I don't know, ideology on society doesn't work. I can't think of the exact European country. I want to say Sweden, but they did this whole thing where they try to very, very much enforce like gender equality throughout their whole career force. That include tech and STEM and all the other stuff that's mostly dominated by men. But even still after doing that, the women still veer back to what they typically like to do, which is more person type stuff, teachers, nurses and stuff like that. And the guys went back to more like STEM, engineering and stuff like that, working with things and less so with people. That's just kind of how we ride for the most part. Of course, you have like outliers or people that go against the grain, but that's not the majority. And using that as an argument doesn't really prove anything because 2% or 3% doesn't counteract or equal the other 97%.
Like perpetuating the idea that the woman is the stronghold of the household forever.
You're saying a sitcom because it's a comedy. That's what they're making it like more laughable.
The Simpsons. Look at Marge. She's the strength of the household. Look at Homer. He's
a useless man.
Man. Yeah, look at Bart. He's a joker. He doesn't take anything serious. Look at Lisa. Lisa is the smartest girl you'll ever meet. Like you
can't get more.
But who brings the money in? Homer.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna.
That is fair. But Marge runs the house. The other thing is that
the house, not the money.
So
the house.
The other thing that I will say,
masculinity is about leadership.
Yeah.
So he's not a masculine man. He's not a depicted masculine man.
And that's why I think society finds it as funny as well, because it's like, oh, look at this man who does.
But look, now you're making excuses for the facts that we're portraying. No. So we're telling you facts. I know you're saying, well, if you add this in, then no, these are the facts, and you're trying to mix it in. So it's either you accept reality for what it is.
I want to just pause because he said something earlier that's very, very true. You can't be saying it's not the woman's fault for the type of men that they choose or date when they now have the freedom to date whoever they wish once they turn 18 or they're an adult now. If you want to be equal, you want to be a free person, you want to be just like us men, that means you suffer the consequences just like us men do. You can't be protected from that and say it's because of this, and the other, or the reason why she goes for this type of man is because that's all she knows. At a certain point, you have to look at the results and change your behavior. That's for everybody, man, woman, old or young. You should always try to be improving, and part of that is self accountability. You can't do that if you're saying media showed me this or media showed me that, and that's why I can't fix my life and get the results I want. You need to look at your behavior and stop going to those sources of bad influences at the same time.
Or you look at the differences that's happening. So you're arguing that things are changing. Until we see those changes, right now we live in this reality where this is what women are attracted to.
You're right. I do think things are changing. I think men are becoming more feminine. But do you know what that's led to? Women sleeping with a smaller and smaller and smaller percentage of men. So some dating app statistics say it's 5% of men that are sleeping with everybody.
100%.
Yeah, 5%, 10%, 15%, 20% are sleeping with 80 to 100% of women.
If we're talking about leadership, then I mean, if we're saying that masculinity is based on leadership and that high value man based on leadership, then my God, there's not many men doing that anyway.
Yes,
And that's one of the
that's
reasons.
correct.
Because
and
with
that's
society's
one- that's
become more
one of the-
female-led.
That's one of the reasons.
Gynocentric.
It's not even about, yes, we've got the fact that society's letting women lead more, what have you, but some women have no choice. That's in the matter. It's
true.
So, and I feel like because we have a lot of, I can't speak for all men, we have some men that want to go and be wild, have fun, and not have responsibilities. Women have stepped up. It rather could be because men made children and they wasn't around, and the rest of it. So I thought, because you're 19, right?
Yeah.
I'm 35. So how we see men is quite different, and how we portray men is very different. We wanted leaders. We wanted men to run. We wanted men to lead us, and they couldn't. Therefore, we've had to.
But women leave more. So when it comes to marriages, you're talking about kids and fathers not being there.
Yeah.
One, we all say that women mature faster than men anyway. So that's one fact. The second is that women divorce men 70% of the time.
70. Some stats say 80, and if you're college educated, we leave 90% of the time.
Isn't that what I read? Most of that to do with adultery and stuff like that, rather
Most of it's
than
to do with
because you couldn't
financial.
lead.
It's
Or
finance.
finance and adultery, two things that I've.
There are two, but remember, men and women cheat at the same rates. It's very close. It's 23% and 28%. So
they get caught more than we do.
They get right. So arguably, women cheat more. So
so
that's
you
why you
literally-
can't put adultery on the men if we're doing it at the same rate.
I'm just saying that for me, growing up in the age that I am, being a millennial, the way that men were portrayed to be, they never, and a lot of them did not actually reach. Didn't make the cut. So we've had to become more
right. But did you make the cut?
Or what? In what sense?
Well, I'm saying like you don't have a ring. Did you make the cut?
But do I want to get married? That's another question. Babe.
Well, that's fine if you don't.
Do you know what I
but
mean?
I'm
Then,
saying,
yeah.
but
Majority of women still do.
And that's I think, you know what, if you want to be that kind of woman that was to get married and be a certain way, then I agree with you wholeheartedly.
100%.
You have to be a certain way to get what you want. You can't be out here thinking you're going to live a certain way, do a certain thing, and then get the man you want. There has to be bargaining. You have to compromise. So that's my issue. I always say to my friends, if you can be single and you can ride that bird, do you, sis, and ride and be that person. If you can't, humble yourself, because the men out here want a certain thing, and let's face it, if you're not that certain thing, you're not going to get the man you want.
And you make enough income to be okay, right?
Yeah.
You'll be okay. But here's the problem: women over the age of 45 that are single and childless have the lowest rates of happiness.
Oh my God.
Successful career women.
Yes, successful, and they make that makeover. It's like $50K a year.
But there's other women that, on the other flip side, that are okay. So I think it depends on.
No,
but the majority
but
of
we're
women.
talking. So you're bringing up the exception. I'm talking about
okay,
the rule.
fine, yeah.
And so the rule is that if you make it to a certain age and you're gonna get out of the dating market, men prefer younger women.
Yeah.
So you get to a certain age, life starts to take away options for you.
We don't know the reasons why these 45-plus-year-old women are in the situation that they're in. Maybe it's due to that poor lifestyle choices before that's led them to this. So some of us may not feel a sense of sympathy towards them.
I'm not saying to be sympathetic, but I'm saying we should at least give younger women the information so you can prioritize what's important.
I think I agree. I feel like with now lots of do's and don'ts, we don't give young people, whatever, or people the information they need to make a sound decision. So you either get the OnlyFans people that are saying, make OnlyFans, it's loads of money, you can make 6 figures in in 2 days, but don't tell you the repercussions of making 6 figures in 2 days. The same way women say, get married young, you get married young, have a husband for life.
Okay, damn, that was the end. That was just sudden hard in. But I get what she's saying, because there's two ends of the spectrum, and that's a problem that we have nowadays, is that people like to go to the extremes. We can't seem to ever find the common ground in the middle, which is much more logical and sensical oftentimes. And not just with dating, it's with politics, it's with economics, it's with many things in life, because emotions get involved. But if you can leave your emotions out of it and just take in the information, you oftentimes can get a lot of good stuff out of it. And I try to apply that stuff among a lot of different stuff, even if I don't agree with the person. You see how I do stuff about liberals who don't like black Republicans or black independent people like myself who doesn't align themselves with the Democratic Party or the Republican Party because they both seem as corrupt. No matter who the person is, whether you disagree with them or not, I think there's information and knowledge and wisdom to take from it. And this whole thing about living your best life at a young age and hoping that later on down the line you can get the same stuff that you wanted when you were younger, like a family and stuff. You're playing the game. There is consequences to every choice that we make. It goes for men and women. But guys, we can't guarantee if we're gonna live to the age of 40 or 35 if we decide to wait to that long to have a family, because that's when we're gonna be more financial secure. But we know that that's the best option for our child if we decide to do that. Women sometimes don't make that option. They want the kid now because they see they can't get a husband right now, but they want that companionship and they don't want their ass to dry up. So they'll have a kid now and just be a single mother and think it's okay. And that's part of the other reason that I did that previous video on Pearly that I uploaded today, where they were talking about single motherhood or single parenthood isn't that big of a deal when it actually is. People are making these choices, and I don't think we should just be given quote unquote get out of jail free cards for the choices people make, whether it comes to the choices they make in dating and marriage or keeping a child or not. We're all adults, men or women, and we need to just make better choices and live with the stuff we make and be self accountable. But that's all I gotta say. It's your boy Logos, and I'll talk to y'all next time.